Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. This video is sort of going to be a part 2 to the video that I posted about physical attacks on the electrical grid. There was a lot of very good commentary early on in that vid, and I thought that maybe I would make another video, a part 2, to address some of those things brought up in the comment section, and to also address Irish's video response to my video response of his video. So there are some things that I'm going to be able to address in this video, and there's some things that I'm not going to be able to adequately speak to because it really is outside of my wheelhouse. But getting back to Hibernia's son, he made a video responding to the video that I posted, and in that he brought up some very valid points, as he also did in his commentary on my video. And he brought up some things such as the 2003 blackout that affected just a large portion of the northeast of the United States. 2003 was just after utilities began to sit down together and discuss the grid. Once again, that was facilitated by the government, and how to strengthen the grid or make it less susceptible to certain types of events. Now, you were very correct in your assessment on how it got started. It started from something small, and then it just kind of had a snowball effect, growing and overwhelming and cascading, and you know, it was a huge, huge event. Because of the timing of that event, there was a lot of focus on all the different things that came together that allowed that blackout to grow the way that it did. Basically, adjustments have been made, better technology, advancements in detection has really aided in preventing an event like that from occurring. You see, that was kind of like, and I hate to use this phrase because I think that it's overused, it was almost like a perfect storm of events. There was more than just a failure of a piece of equipment, but you have to look at everything from the load that was being used at the time, the amount of power available at the time, current, and protection devices and how they operated. Now, we've had protection devices on our lines, distribution, transmission, and so forth, forever, it seems like, way before I came with the company. I'll give you an example. I'm sure many of you have experienced at the beginning of a storm or wind or rain or something, your lights click off, they come off, and they come right back on, and then they go right back out. And they come right back on, and then they go right back out, and they stay out. That is a protection device on the distribution side of the business called a recloser. Okay? And its specific design is to pick up a fault, and it'll drop out a section of line to keep it from moving further, affecting more people, and possibly damaging more critical equipment. Now, the way that it's normally set up, and there can be a variety of ways that reclosers operate, and how utilities use them. But it senses a fault and it drops out for a predetermined amount of time, usually just a few seconds. And then it'll come back on. If it still sees that fault down that line, then it will drop out again, for again another predetermined time frame, which is usually just a few seconds. And it will come back on, and if that fault is still present, then it'll drop that line out and keep it out until the crews can come out there and investigate and see what's going on. Now, it can be a variety of things But if we use, for an example, a tree limb or has come across the line and has made a fault, sometimes when the recloser is going through its operations, that tree limb is blown off by the wind, or maybe bringing the current back on burns it off. And if that happens within that sequence, then your lights come on and stay on. But if not, then it'll go out and stay out until somebody comes out there and removes that tree limb. And that's just one example. There's a wide variety of circumstances. That's very, very old technology. What we have gotten better at doing is sensing faults and localizing and isolating them more quickly. Especially when you look at the transmission grid. That's where the largest amount of folks can be affected. The transmission grid is really an amazing thing on how different companies now buy and sell power at different peak times and down times, and how companies keep track of what's out there and what's available. They also have really advanced their ability to detect something going wrong. That gives them a better opportunity to isolate something going wrong really badly and keep it from cascading and overwhelming and load shifts and all the things that come into play when you look at these widespread blackouts. Now, a lot that has to do with that is maintenance to the lines, and maybe you have a power station that's down and you have a section of transmission line that is down for repair, and you know there's more communication between the companies that own these facilities now, and that should make those events happening in a synchronized fashion to create these large blackouts. Now, I'm not saying it's going to remove it forever, and there's always that possibility of just the right things happening. But I will say that as far as an attack goes, facilitating that is just immense. You would have to have, load charts and understanding what's available at the time, what is up online or possibly offline, and new ideas and new things have been put into place almost like a safeguard, though I hate using that word because it often gives folks a false sense of security. But we have added protections as a result of companies getting together and focusing on strengthening our grid. Now, you mentioned a cyber attack in association with a physical attack. EMP and cyber attacks are two threats that are definitely out there, and they are definitely viable. As to the cyber attacks, I don't really know how to say with a degree of competence what's going on. I do know that our company, like many companies in this nation, really are spending a lot of resources in building protections from cyber attacks. But cyber attacks are kind of like bullets and armor, right? You make armor to defeat a bullet, someone else makes a better bullet to defeat the armor. And so it's an ever-evolving, ever-changing process, and it is now part of our world. And every now and then we see where folks and their systems fail. We hope that the power companies, along with the help of the government, is providing a good protection against cyber attacks, but at the end of the day, I guess that's always possible. Now, I do know that The ability to curb the effect of cyber attacks is much like the recloser. It's much like the protection devices that we have out there. In other words, they can sense something is going wrong and isolate maybe an area so it does not have the opportunity to affect large areas. EMP, out in the world of distribution and transmission, EMP definitely can disrupt things. There is not as much circuitry, fine circuitry out there for EMP to have a huge effect. But where it could, and I don't know what's in place, if there's anything at all in place to deal with that, is the transmission switching and power production. A lot of our plants, our power plants, whether they be nuclear, coal-fired, gas, whatever, there's a lot of circuitry there. I don't know if the way that they're built actually provides a makeshift Faraday type of protection. Grounding grids are a very important part of critical equipment. I don't know how to respond to that, so I won't. I can only tell you that companies are aware of that, and the government has introduced such types of threats and contingencies. What kind of contingencies can the companies come together and provide? All right, folks, 12 minutes. I really didn't want this video to be that long. Our grid is better than it was. It's going to have to continue to get better as time goes on, and hopefully it will. We are never, in my opinion, going to be in a position where disruption of power cannot happen. But I think that we're in a pretty good place to keep it from cascading into a large national type of event. At any rate, thank you for watching my videos. I certainly appreciate it. I hope this added some clarity to what I was trying to say in the first video. But at any rate, thank you, and remember to shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.